And we are on. Welcome to Around LG. We are bringing in the new year. Finally, the year's over for LG. Bringing on 2018 with playoffs. Getting into round 2 of the NHL and AHL playoffs and round 3 of the CHL playoffs. I'm joined by Wolf.
Hello,
Kenneth,
hello.
Hitman Hart now. Got people changing their names.
I had to.
We got primetime owner of the Florida Panthers,
How you doing?
Vibes,
Hello.
known as Zuboff.
I got an X in my name now. I'm trying to make myself a little bit better, but
All
it didn't
right,
quite
you're not
work
as cool
out.
as me still. Try again.
So
I put an X in my name.
I put
It didn't do
four
anything,
X's.
but I put an X.
I put a big X with a little X, thinking it would do a big thing for me, but it didn't.
I think I'm gonna try
Didn't give you the star power.
20 next time and see what happens.
I'm gonna add the QC also next season.
Oh yeah.
See if that boosts
Gotta
it
have
up
the
a little
QC
bit
in
more.
there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Add the
it'll give you better
QC.
thumbs.
Second.
Underscore.
Yeah.
Gotta always have the underscore.
One wasn't enough, so
QCXL29.
Gotta have the half smiley face. Hey, no, don't forget the half smiley faces.
Oh yep.
No. I actually will be doing a show next week. Funny names of LG. Where I will go through all the people in LG, find the funniest names, and we hopefully. I think I might have no sleeves on for that one. So we'll be in Bearcuff, and we'll be going over all the funny names in LG. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're gonna be running through the NHL, the AHL, and the CHL in this podcast. We'll also be talking about the bands that have impacted the league a lot this season. I don't know about you guys, but it's very frustrating this season. And it's also getting to the point of you don't know who is a second tag anymore. I mean, it's insane. I mean, they're popping up all over the place.
yeah, no, it seems like you never know when it's gonna be a second tag. I mean, when that whole shit was going down with Vesna, I was fucking on the edge of my seat, sweating, fucking scared they were going to take all the team's points away or something, and I had no idea what he was off doing on his own time. It was a little weird, like his availability and stuff. So I guess it probably should have been a red flag. But I mean, you really never know who the fuck's doing it now. Everybody's doing it. It just seems like it's an epidemic in the league.
And let's be honest, going back to the days of early sixes hockey and leagues like this, all the inner circles kind of knew that stuff like this was going on. You didn't think it was this widespread amongst the league, but you knew a couple people were doing it and you kind of kept your mouth shut and stuff like that. And I think it's finally going to hit the nail on the head, kind of hit with a few big topics here. And I think the more we get that out, it's going to be better for the league. But I think it's finally getting to the point where this stuff's being known, letting it be known around the league, and people are finally discovering, like, hey, this stuff's actually happening. You're actually getting in trouble for it now. Let's move on.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the thing is notorious with it, though.
Yeah, but the thing is with LG, it's like they're a little bit more hip to it than other leagues have been, So like they can locate people a little bit easier. Well, I'm not saying they have, it's not like they're not the FBI, the NSA, right? They're not the NSA, but they're a little bit more hip to it than other leagues. It's still a
no doubt, yeah.
But I think that
but there's only so much you can do with it.
Yeah, but the way you force shit like that out is through the culture of the league. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
oh no doubt.
If you're second tagging and shit, you're a fucking clown, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you really doing with yourself that you got a second tag too? Like, come on.
Oh, there's no love for that. That just fucks everybody's shit up. You're ruining everybody's fucking experience.
It affects every level of the league too when it happens too.
If it happens at the AHL level, you're fucking an AHL team. You're fucking an NHL team.
Yeah.
It's like it's insane.
And you got someone like me me where if you're on my team and you somehow cost my team points with all the time and effort that I put in throughout the year, I might fucking hunt you down and kill you. So don't do it. Like it's not
all
gonna,
right, Fedora man.
not
Take
good,
it
man.
Well, he's got a point. I mean,
No, he does have a point,
management
though.
takes a lot of time.
A lot.
A lot of time.
It does.
And I mean, look at
We don't get paid for
Galley
this shit either. Yeah.
and Belleville.
Mm.
They were in a playoff spot, I believe,
they got
second
reefed.
seed in the division.
Yep, they got reefed.
And it's just a matter of Mel being caught. They're out of the playoffs, just like that. I mean, if that happened to me, I'd be livid.
Yeah, I'd be pissed, dude.
I mean, but it's to the point
it's
where
unfair.
it's to the point where the league's kind of like we understand, you guys had nothing to do with it, but they still have to take the points. They have to take the standing points.
There's really no other way to correct it, though. You have to hit it hard.
Right.
I mean, you can't just
No, you
say,
have
well,
to. Yeah, no, like you have to. It's definitely a necessary evil. I'm just
so
saying.
it's an understandable punishment. It still sucks.
Yeah, but it would suck, man. Like, I mean, especially as it's bad enough as a player, like all the time that you put in and shit. But like as a manager, we put in a lot of effort, dude.
Having 20 points tacked off your fucking season.
So to have
that's
that
awful.
just completely, yeah, man. That is not cool at all. Don't do it.
Definitely flips the standings upside down. That's for fuck sure.
Because technically, I was fighting with the crunch for a playoff spot, and that happening, I moved into a playoff spot. I mean, it sucks because the Senators had a good team, but those 11 wins, the 22 points, dropped them out of a playoff spot.
It's a shame because they still are a good team, and they would have done. I think they would have done great in the East, and it's just like they got shut down right away as soon as the shit happened.
And it's a shitty situation for everyone because, even the team that gets pushed in because someone else gets pushed out, you don't really want to. You really don't even feel like you earned the spot. You know what I mean? Like I know Prime just had a situation like that with Boston. With Domgate, fucking 2017.
That's a good word for it. Yeah,
it is.
It sucks for everybody involved. The team that's getting pushed in and the team that's getting pushed out.
And yeah, that whole thing was mass confusion. I think that day that should have been Game 7 or the last day of the series. I mean, I woke up that morning, went to work, hey, we're eliminated, blah, blah, blah. Let's work on the offseason. Oh, no, there's a chance he's second tagging. You guys might have to play Game 5 again. Okay. Oh, no, never mind. They're just going to, you guys are. There was 2 or 3 times that day where I thought we were eliminated. We were back in. Thought we were eliminated. We're back in. So it's from an owner's point of view, trying to get his team back next season. It's what's really going on here? Are we in? Are we out? Am I focused on next season? Am I focused on maybe playing Ottawa next round?
Probably to the point where you just kind of wanted it to be over, right?
And that's what I said in the JP interview that he did, a very well done interview about the playoffs, the second round. I was like, this is a split decision amongst my team. Half the team was like, do we even want to advance? We've lost the series twice. And then some of the goofballs on my team are like, fuck yeah, we want to advance. Fuck them, they cheated. We're going out there, we're going to go play Ottawa. So it causes a split within the locker room. And it just something like that creates so much confusion, so much negative energy within the league. It's just something that they just got to get out of it. It's just a distraction amongst everything that we want to accomplish within this hockey league.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets to the point you don't know who knows. I'm not saying any of the Senators knew. I don't know how much of Boston knew. I mean, I don't know how many people knew about Vezina. You don't know. That's the whole thing.
I think each individual situation is a little bit different. I feel like with Melo, it was kind of just him just making a dumb mistake. He probably made that tag and never really played. I really don't know. He had the tag. He probably forgot about the tag or something, and he made Melo, and he wasn't even playing on it. So it's a little different, But I'm pretty sure with the Dom situation, like it was definitely like a deleted email situation. A lot of people in on it,
So McDonald's has came out and said, "Look, I want transparency. I don't want it to feel like people think we're hiding stuff." He's came out with multiple messages that everybody's gotten stating, "Look, this is why this person was banned. This is somewhat the evidence we have," because they still want it to be where, people's identities of turning people in are still concealed. So they'll say, "We have a screenshot saying this, this, and this, this, and this," but they won't say a screenshot from.
I think that needs to be improved upon on the PSN side anyway. The transparency they don't really give out explanations for bans like they used to anymore.
Right, and they're starting to work their way towards that. One of the things as plus size pounders also taught, and McDonald have talked to me about where they have a meeting and explain, so that way the media can put it out to the community of why this happened, so it brings up discussions. We're not just making assumptions and then the leagues are like, "Why are you saying that?" Well, we don't know, so we have to go off of what we're hearing throughout the community. They're trying to take that out of there. For example, with Mello, his previous account was C-Car.
C-Car, yeah.
Right. C-Car got banned. 3 days later, Mello was created. The reason why Mello's name was ran through IP was because of the way he was acting in shout boxes and towards site staff and box. They ran his IP and it matched, and they put 2 and 2 together. So C-Car was actually Mello's previous tag. I believe Vesna was an IP match. It's one of those things where
I know what happened to Vesna personally.
Right.
Vesna got caught because I think it was like McDonald's said we have an IP, but McDonald didn't run IPs yet, and Vez just admitted it.
So then you have guys that like Toxic. Toxic wasn't a second tag, but he knew of second tags. And you can't say, "Well, I knew about the second tag," and you send in a screenshot and it's from October and you're just coming to the league with it in December, and they're going to be like, "Well, why didn't you come to us with it before that?" Well, I don't know.
At the same time, do you need a 3-month ban for that? Or not a 3-month, a 3-season ban for that? Like, you shouldn't punish people the same equivalent amount for second tagging as like not reporting it on time. Like a 1 season or at least some kind of suspension or something, sure, but like I don't think a 3-season,
but wasn't
6-month site ban is an appropriate response.
Wasn't Toxic after Vesna?
I think they were going on around the same time.
And after CCM? Because I think it got to the point where the league was just like, "Look, we're done with this. This is detrimental to the league. That's the 3-season ban. We're tired of this."
A lot of that has to do with Xbox too, because Xbox was a shit show this season for the same reason. I think the league just got tired of dealing with it. It's only the same few people dealing with the same shit.
Well,
yeah, but both leagues were really. I mean, like both leagues were kind of just a mess with all that. Sorry, I had to order food, so I wasn't here for a second. But yeah, I mean, it was just like really widespread, like Xbox, PSN, NHL, AHL, just everywhere. It's like I said, it's an epidemic.
Well, one thing,
stop, man.
I agree with, honestly, I wish on the band side, because they did just change the whole band structure now, where you get banned once, it's a $50 Canadian dollar buyback. Second, 75. 3 or more in a 5-season ban is a 500, and it's a capital offense. And you must serve a minimum 6 months, and includes a 6-month chat mute.
I believe that also is exchanged over to Canadian currency instead of
Correct.
US dollars like it was previously.
Yeah, Canadian dollar. Honestly, though, if you get caught with a second tag once, you get caught with it a second time, obviously the person's going to come back and probably do it a third time. Do you think
at that point you just don't give a shit?
Right. At that point, I mean, are you really just going to be like, hey, here's a $50 buyout for a second tag? I think it should be right to capital offense.
For a second tag, I think it should be a capital offense straight off the bat. I mean, there's other bannable offenses, obviously, but
I mean, there's refusal to play. There's, inactive,
strikeouts, all that. Yeah,
whatever. Second tags should be an automatic capital offense.
No doubt. I really think that should be incorporated into that whole banning system.
And then 3 or more in a 5-year span. I mean, if you're getting banned, I wouldn't even say
be in the league if you get banned that many times. Yeah, you don't need to be in the league.
Right. Like 5-year span is 15 seasons?
That's at least 2 full NHL games.
Yep.
Like that, I think it should be a lower year span. There's for a capital event, because these guys can buy out of their shit. So I mean, you could probably get banned 3 times in a year, and just keep buying it out.
At this point, they're looking at it as some money.
I think they should start caning kids. Pull out the cane, 50 lashes, something like that.
This is why you beat your children when they're 5, so they don't second tag when they're 20.
Yeah.
So I mean, it gets to the point. When do you finally start IP blocking? Because you can't tell me they don't
have... much you can do. There's only so much you can do with that. IPs are extremely easy to fuck with. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, I mean
that would nip a small percentage of people that aren't intelligent enough to switch it. But I mean,
to be honest with you, I mean, if you have I don't want to open a can of worms here, but if you have an idea about the way networking works and everything like that, and you're like tech savvy, you could. Like I said, I don't want to open up a can of worms, but you could second tag and all that and never ever get caught. You know what I mean? Like it's just the reality of it.
Divorced, you can second tag.
Well, no matter what, you should be able to, in theory,
right. It's one of those where the league can only do so much. The community has to help.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, it all starts with the community and the culture. That's where it all starts with everything, honestly, is just, you got to weed it out and just let people know that you don't get no brownie points for that shit. It's like, come on, dude. Like, really? That's what you're going to do with yourself here is second tag and everything. Just retarded.
Like in a virtual league for fun, like for fuck's sakes, is there really a reason to do it?
I mean,
I know honestly, it's competitive, but like, aren't you playing it to enjoy yourself? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Honestly, though, but if you honestly think about this, just in my time, I have media, ownership, and playing my games. That's not including VG that I'm in. That's not including, other leagues. And guys have time to do management, second tag, and all this other stuff. Like I can't find the time for that, man.
I mean, for me, it's like I don't really do much other than like work and this video game stuff. You know what I mean? So like like to say I don't have the time, I think would kind of be a lie. But it's not so much about time as it is like just why. You know what I mean? Like why are you gonna do it? Like it's stupid. It's retarded. Like it's
stupid.
You know,
wasn't Vesna's case? He even came out and said, like, look, I didn't think anybody would take me serious playing forward. So
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't really know too much about the whole Vesna thing. The only thing I do know is that when everything was coming down, number one, it seemed like everyone in the league knew, but I did. Like it seemed like everyone knew it. Like everyone was in the shout box all the time. Like, hey Vez, you know, like it was mentioned to me by Silky was like, hey, I heard that, you know, whatever his name was, Hyper or whatever is Vesna, right. You know, and I just kind of shrugged it off.
Well, like, there's only how much proof of that was there, honestly, other than rumors being tossed?
There really wasn't any proof other than just it was all like, you know, it's kind of like the word on the street, you know, and like, but you hear shit like that all the time, you know. But I do know when everything was coming down, Vesna was like right away in our team Discord, he was like, "Hey guys, I'm really sorry," you know, blah blah blah. And it was just like everyone in there was just like, fucking take a walk, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no one wants to hear your shit, dude. You know?
Did you guys lose points for that one?
No, we didn't lose any points for that. Because at the end of the day,
primary.
we had Vesna. You know, like Vesna is still Vesna. You know what I mean? It's not like he was the one second, right?
Yeah, whoever Hyper was on is the one that got punished.
Right. Yeah. Which, I mean, makes sense because at the end of the day, if you bid on a player who's the legit tag in the first tag, like, why should you lose any points? You know, like, so that does make sense.
I mean, you get into the Dom Squad thing. That's an owner that was pretty much second tagging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big hurt because frankly, management should be setting the example.
And it's not just an owner. It's a guy who had one of the better teams in the league, had a structured team, knows talent. It's a big smack in the face. Like, he was a good owner, and he was still doing that stuff.
I mean,
he was really successful this year, too, you know, and he was still fucking around with all that.
But then you get to the point. You get into next season. And you get into bidding. Like, are you nervous bidding? Like, as a CHL management bidding, you're kind of nervous about these prospects coming in.
Oh, I know
because
for a fact that I am.
You have no clue.
Yeah, no, like, I know for a fact that I am. Like, I've actually thought about it in my head, like, you know, do I want to say something, like, when the season starts, like... You know, like, hey, listen, if any of you guys are a second tag or something, let me know now. Like, you know, I won't rat you out, but fucking, I just want you fucking out of here. You know, because, like, you don't want to get screwed, right?
Well, and then it affects AHL. You're ECU in 8 games. That's 16 points if the guy wins every game. So that's 16 points gone in the AHL.
No.
So, I mean... You're getting to the point where it's affecting every league. It's not just CHL, it's AHL, and then you got NHL.
Oh, there's definitely a snowball
effect. Exactly, but it's not even that. Once the guy gets removed, now you got to call somebody up.
And then your AHL team.
And
in our case,
well, that's what happened with us. That's what happened with us.
Trade deadline,
you know, like,
he had to call up one of our goalies, and like, what are we supposed to do? Like, fuck
us.
No,
like, I totally screwed them over, but it wasn't my fault. It wasn't me screwing.
No, that's not your fault at all.
It was Vesna screwing them over. You know what I mean? But there's definitely a trickle down effect, you know, and it fucks everyone up, you know. And it actually, I mean, Wolf will tell you, like, it turned my AHL team into like fucking mutiny. Like, it was like, you know.
Oh my god, yo!
They hated me, and I was like, yo, what do you want me to do? And it's just like this
It was
giant
just
screwed
a
up
hurricane.
situation. You know?
Well,
that was
one thing I kept running into was you'd bid on guys, and then they'd be like, "I want to go play CHL."
Oh, there was a lot of that too. Yeah,
there was a lot of that this season. I want to go play CHL. Well, okay, so you bring somebody else up, they get banned, and you got to call somebody up. Why are you taking me off? We got a good playoff spot in the CHL.
That's what happened to that AA Casso guy. We called him up, and he said, "I don't even play goalie." Lied straight to my face. Said, "I don't even play goalie," so we sent him back down so he could play CHL again like a hero.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, to me, that problem is very minimal in comparison to like the whole second tagging thing. And I mean, I guess like there's really nothing you can do about that at the end of the day. Like, you know, if a guy wants to play down in the CHL, I mean, I guess you can correct it through culture and, you know, trying to explain to people in the league and, you know, that there's a hierarchy here and, you know, you start in the CHL and you always want to move up. I mean, everyone should want to play in the NHL, but I guess some guys just simply don't, you know?
Well, like we were talking about before we went on air, is winning the Memorial Cup this season really an accomplishment?
I mean, I guess that's relative. You know, it's relative to who and where you are, you know?
I mean,
Mem Cup here, but like, that shit don't mean nothing.
If you're a prospect and you win the Memorial Cup, you know, awesome. You know, you're striving towards, you know, moving up. You're going to drafting, you know, that adds to your resume. You know, you get looked at more. But what you're an amateur down there, you know, beating up on guys that are, you know, they don't really have the systems that the AHL and NHL have when you're playing sixes.
Right.
Oh, not even close. It's the CHL force crease.
But, right. But it's one of those things where I think this season the talent level was just down, it seemed to me. In all leagues. I mean, you had people going and bidding. You had people going and bidding that shouldn't have been going for as much as they did. I mean, it just didn't make sense to me. But for guys to be going for that much, and then you're almost running into, you know, where you can't call guys up because you don't have the cap because you went for $6 million in the CHL.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all things that people are bringing up to McDonald to see, you know, is there something we can do?
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if there is.
Maybe making the cap lower for the CHL team so they can't spend $6 million on one guy and still have a successful team. I mean, that'd be the only correction I can see, but I don't see how practical that really even is.
That's also where ownership starts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for first-year owners, they aren't gonna be where, hey, I need 17 guys here. You know, my cap's this. You know.
Yeah, they're not at the level that they can pick and choose and price up the right way to get what they need.
It's one of those things where it's kind of like the economy. You know, does it fix itself or do you have to do something? It's one of those things. Wolf also had Dan the Heater.
Danny.
Also
fuck that. Oh my god.
I believe what wasn't that account recovery on Xbox?
It was an account recovery on Xbox. I don't have all the details on it, but I know it was enough for a ban, and that shafted me.
Right. So there's another one, and then it's another where you got to bring a guy up.
We couldn't even bring a guy up. We didn't have anybody, so he really fucked us. Yeah, we're going into fucking playoffs with ECUs at fucking left D. It's like really brutal.
Well, you also did just pull up a big upset against the Wolves.
Yep.
So, I mean, you guys at least have momentum going in.
Hopefully, we'll see how that goes.
I wasn't quite sure. I didn't look, but because you only can use an ECU twice in the whole playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how long. Do you guys have enough ECUs?
We have enough amateur ECUs, but not all of them are defense, so we're going to be using whatever we can at this point. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be a long, rough road.
Well, yeah, I kind of get that. With us, when we went into Game 6 against the Devils, and I didn't have Pappy or B-Dog show up.
Yeah, you got 2 ECUs planted on your back end, then what do? You just stick your thumb up your butt and hope.
And then I have Schizo who didn't even have internet.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Right. So that was 3 ECUs for that game. Luckily I had Hank going. But I mean, granted, I had some guys to fill in those spots. I was missing 1 defensive ECU. I won't get into full details on that situation. I'm not here for media for a pissing match. But then you also had CCM was another second tag.
That was bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's it. Vesna, Mello,
Terry.
CCM.
Terry Toronto
was another one.
What about McDavid?
That was the same thing as Hypervez.
Oh,
right.
I think Terry Toronto is the only other one.
Yeah, his was a casualty of Xbox. That's the other thing about Boston is a lot of people forget going into that series they lost one of their best defensemen before they even had the whole Dom Squad thing going on. So they had, but that was like I said, that was a Xbox side thing where he
that
knew
was a casualty
of
of Xbox. Yeah,
his team knew of him, or he knew of his team second tagging, but he didn't necessarily do it.
So I mean, second tags bite you in the ass. It
bites everybody in the ass.
Right. So, I mean, we pretty much have spent enough time on this because it's just plain frustrating. Because
I was starting to fall asleep a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie.
Wake up, Fedora,
I mean, yeah, we could beat this for probably 12 hours, but I mean, it's to the point. Community needs to step in. I mean, even if they're your buddies, I understand. But you should be also telling that buddy to not be second tagging.
It's really easy. Just don't be a fucking cornball and second tag, and definitely don't do it if you're on my team and cost me points because, like I said before, I might find you and kill you. So just don't do it. Stupid.
Right.
It's the easiest solution.
There's really no benefit.
You don't want vibes.
There's really no benefit.
No, it's not worth it. It's not worth your life, kids.
Yeah, the bottom line is if you're going to be playing 2 tags in a hockey league, go look at a mirror. Get yourself a favor.
It's like, come on,
Go
dude.
to the bathroom and sit down and look at yourself and say, I play double the internet hockey that I need to.
Just grab a pencil and reevaluate your life because it's just like things ain't working out for you, man.
Gotta hit the chalkboard again, man.
You know?
All right, so now we're moving on to NHL playoffs.
Ooh.
And
spicy.
You know, we talked about the whole Boston, Florida thing. Florida's now going up against the Senators. The Senators took out the Red Wings in 5 games. We all know Florida in 7. We also have Carolina, who took out the Islanders, and Columbus that took out the Maple Leafs. It's one of those. who would you say is the favorite out of Carolina, Columbus?
I think it's 100% Columbus. I think Columbus is a team that is built very well. They're players who are talented, who play together well. I do like Carolina. Ever since I've been in the PlayStation side of things, Carolina's always been a team that's just been there. They've been annoying. They don't have any excellent players, but they have good players who show up and win games. But I would say the overall judgment would be Columbus would be the favorite, coming off the cup. A better team, better overall. And, I mean, if they click on all cylinders, it's scary. There's very few teams that can go line for line with them.
Yeah, I think Columbus is the obvious favorite there. I mean, like Carolina to me is just like, you know, I think if you caught any of my write-ups, you know, I basically just said that they're kind of a, I don't know, like there's nothing really exciting about them. You know, they're just a team that's always there. You know,
they're grinders.
Yeah, I mean, not even that. It's just like they just figured out a way to win a bunch of games. You know, it was good enough to get them into the playoffs.
Yeah, Razor's a good owner. I was with him when I got randomly assigned in season 2. He CU'd me. He always has good
He's always there. He's always there. Yeah.
He always gets some good guys that are going to compete on the first line. He fills it out with the guys he knows from VG with depth. You look at guys like Rise of the Ninja. I mean, he's got some good LG guys like NJ Devil and Larkin, all those guys. Those guys are just good players who are going to show up and compete every day. And that's pretty much the way he's built his Carolina team since he's been in the league. They do have a extremely solid goalie in back. Back is he's one of the 5 goalies in this game that I would say could win a game by himself. You just don't see that much anymore with the new gen. But again, I would say Columbus is still the favorite. But I would say Carolina, if they steal 1 or 2 games, all of a sudden it goes to a game 7. Who knows what happens there?
Yeah. And they're definitely the type of team that like finds a way to win. You know what I mean? So it's like I could easily see them winning the series, despite the fact that I definitely view Columbus as the heavy favorite.
All right, so we'll do Florida and the Senators. Won't let Prime talk.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter because even if the Senators eliminate them, they're gonna the Panthers will find a way to come back because they're cats and they have 9 lives. So
that's the joke here is you can't beat our team.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So.
If we're breaking it down, throw all the Boston shit aside. Let's say we beat Boston and hypothetically we won that series. Ottawa's a good team. Ottawa's a very well built team by King Clutch. They got the whole West Coast thing going on. You got Voltep on the second line. Their third line, they have enough names on that roster. They can put somebody like Polgs on the third line or Stamkos, and they can just go in there and have a favorable 3-on-3 line matchup. They're a good team. You know that going into the series. And as far as Florida goes, I mean, everybody I describe it to, it's just we're a team that has, like, you're sitting at an office desk, man. You got masking tape, you got paper clips, you got a stapler, and you're like, all right, how the hell am I going to hold this together? And we got guys who go in and compete. We got very good players. I like our defense. I like our forwards. That's why I went out and got them. And we are a good playoff team. I think that if we go out there and we overachieve, we could definitely go out and take the series. But I think as far as we individually go, I think Ottawa's definitely the heavy favorite, knowing they have location advantage, they have home ice advantage, they have what a lot of people think is a roster advantage. But I like my guys. I like the base I have. And regardless how this series goes, I love my team going into the offseason. But as far as this playoff matchup goes, I think anybody who's right in the head knows that Ottawa has a slight advantage and that we would have to do some good line shuffling or win a game or 2 that we don't deserve in order to make this a 7-game series.
Yeah, you guys are sneaky good, though, to be honest with you. Like, you have a sneaky good roster. I mean, I would take Ottawa, because I feel like Ottawa right now is probably the favorite in the entire playoffs, in my opinion. But if it was anybody else, I might take, Team 23. But I think in this particular one, I would go with the Senators.
Mm-hmm. Needs more EGOT jumps.
Needs less EGOT jumps. Everything in this planet needs less EGOT jumps. All topics aside, I love myself some jumps. He was on my team with the Rangers. I brought him over once I went to Florida. I made it a point to go get him. But my man EGOT jumps scored some of the ugliest dog shit goals I've ever seen on this planet. My man, kid you not, we were watching a game earlier this year. It might have been Carolina, it might have been somebody else. I was like, they're going to lose this game. Absolutely no chance they win this game. They're getting dominated. They're down 3-1. Oh, no, it was Nashville. That's who it was against. It was against Vibes' team.
Oh, Vibes.
I remember that game was God.
My man scored 2 ugly goals short side and tied the game. And with 15 seconds left, he comes over the blue line, does a frontward spin on a 3-on-2, and I'm like, okay, he kind of created space. He's going to do something somewhat decent. He shoots the puck, and it goes 5-hole in the goal, and I was like, good fucking God. Like, what did he just do? And they won the game, and it was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen. And he just does that. It works. He comes over the blue line, he shoots, it goes in, we win games. So I don't question it.
No, you can't. Whatever works.
Yeah. It makes my brain hurt.
We got the quarterfinals over in the West. It's Blackhawks versus Dallas, and the Kings versus the Ducks. We'll start out with Dallas versus Chicago.
I like Dallas, to be honest with you. I think that I mean, when a team's as good as Chicago's been all season, it's kind of hard to say, hey, listen, they're overrated or they're this or whatever. But if you would ask me, I mean, I think that the only reason I would pick Chicago in this is if they utilize their West Coast connection to their advantage. But I mean, aside from that, I think that Dallas is the stronger team, to be perfectly honest with you.
If I sit down and analyze this matchup, I like Dallas a lot. I like Chief more than the average person does. I like a lot of players on this roster. I like the way their roster is built. Coach Demon is a beater. But I definitely think this is Chicago's series to lose. I just don't think Dallas can keep up with them. I think Dallas can match them, and they can be all even games. Deji, I spent a season in Chicago with Piper where me and him didn't care, and I got to know Deji. I know a lot of the players on this roster, and I know that Deji, choose my words here again, Deji is very sneakily one of the best managers and owners that PlayStation has seen. Definitely. He will come on the surface, he will act like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a nice guy. He's going to give you what you want. This man has done stuff that I have not seen other owners do with the roster. And what he's done with the Chicago team to have a third line that most of this league would wish could be their first line. I think the Chicago team they are one of the few teams that are too good to give away a series. And I just don't see them doing it to Dallas, as good as Dallas is. That's my prediction. I would say Chicago in 6.
I definitely would say that Deji could be the X factor because going against him as management wise in round 1, he pulled something in game 3 which definitely caught me off guard because he kind of put me in a position to where no matter what I did, he had a counter to it, to where he put Kraz in one lineup and he put Serp in another lineup, and it basically put him in the position to where he could get them away from the line that he wanted to get them away from, regardless of who I put out. So like he does little things like that. They're just really overlooked and stuff when it comes to management.
Yeah. My really friend Mr. Desjardins is a very intelligent person. Yeah, he will never show his hand. That is the biggest thing.
Yeah. And things like that, they play a huge factor when you're going against people in these series. So,
yeah,
but I'll still take Dallas.
I think this will be a long series. Teams, definitely.
If it goes to if it goes to like 7 games, I think that's where my prediction would kind of change, to be honest with you. I think if it goes 7, then it's definitely a Chicago series.
I think the more Dallas can extend
Ducks?
it, the more it goes. Go ahead. Go ahead with the next one.
All right, go ahead. Well,
I was going to say, I think it works, in my mind, it works the opposite. I think if Dallas can prevent it from being a short series, Dallas gets more into it. I think Dallas's best chance is maybe getting a couple wins early and making it a series and getting matchups, which is kind of going against what I said, but I guess this is how my mind's working right now. But I think if they were to get it to 7, that's Dallas's chance. I think if it ends in 5 or 6, it's Chicago having the matchups they wanted.
But, yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I think 5 or 6 is would be the sweet spot for them, and if it goes 7, then I think it flips over to Chicago.
Because I think Chicago having Game 6 line advantage,
especially with a Game 7, Chicago they get the West Coast connection, and I think that does play a huge factor.
So we have the Ducks versus the Kings. Can J. Claus?
Gotta give a shout out to Illy because he's the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
Yeah, that's not the word, but yeah, the GOAT. The GOAT.
This is a tough series to call, honestly. I mean, like I feel like the Kings have, any games that Claus plays, I feel like those are wins, like for sure. And or I don't know, maybe not. It's hard, to be honest with you. This is a pretty good series. I think maybe the break hurts Anaheim. Like I feel like they were starting to pick up steam, and then they ousted VGK, in 5 games. So like I feel like maybe the break hurts Anaheim a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard to carry momentum after 2 weeks.
Yeah, it kind of kills things a little bit. So I don't know if that affects anything here.
Well, it very obviously affects everybody. I mean, I just picked up hockey last night for the first time in a week, and I felt like I'd never played it before. So I think a lot of us are going to have that feeling after the holidays. If I look at this series, it's weird to me. Both these teams did something in round 1 I personally didn't expect. The Kings ran over San Jose. 3 days, and they were done. I did not expect that. I expected if they won, that was going to be a Game 7. J. Claus went out there and beat them in Game 7. If I look at Anaheim, I thought they lose in 5 to the Vegas. I like Vegas a lot. I think just like everybody in the community, I thought Vegas was going to take that 5 or 6, move on to the next round, be ready to go up against a strong team. Putting all that behind my mind, I kind of studied the rosters a little bit just because, my general curiosity. It's my job as management to study these rosters. I like Anaheim's roster a lot more than I did going into the playoffs. I think their forwards are deeper than most people actually realize they are. Look at it, you have two first lines with quotations, but 2 lines that can go out there and compete like first lines. You got Rhino, King, and Jeff. Jeff shows up. I'm assuming they do play together. If Jeff shows up, that's 2 very skilled forwards, and King Bling, who have your opinions on him, he's a good player. He's a good center, distributes, wins faceoffs, plays the game way more than the average individual.
Creative. It's creative, too.
And then your second line is Sublime, K, Steying, and a Coin, who, whereas I'm not going to say with the buttons they're a first line, but the amount of time that they've spent together and the amount of just defensive prowess they show together just from playing for the last 4 years on father-daughter measuring contest or whatever it's called, they just play together so much, it's going to be a factor. And when they play lines that aren't organized or aren't ready up to the task, they're gonna beat you. And that's probably what I felt happened in the Vegas Knights one, is they just, if that line plays well, I think Anaheim can win the series. I think the Kings have better depth than what they're given credit for. I think their defense is solid. I like Fatal a lot in net. I like J. Claus. I think they have the names. I think they have the depth. But I think if the Ducks can maintain their defensive prowess in these forwards, the Ducks have the advantage, and I would say the Ducks in 6. I like that team a lot more than I did a week ago. I'm going to go back to saying that.
I'm going to take the Kings in probably the same amount of games, probably 6. I feel like I feel like Claus can win his 2 games, and then I'm looking at it as they really just need to find a way to win 2 more games, and I think they have enough firepower to do that with Ghost and Illy, and then they have Raging Cloth and stuff. So like Sloth rather. So I think they have enough to get those 2 games before 6, and I feel like they take it by 6.
One thing I will say about the series between Chapman and Fatal, I would expect a lot of good goaltending, which I think neither of them saw in their first round. If you look at some of the Vegas Knights Anaheim games, they're like 8-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
I would expect a lot of good goaltending in this series. I think both of those are guys who can steal games by themselves or at least hold very good lines to 1 or 2 goals.
Fatal's usually really good unless he has a bad game, but he's usually really good.
Yeah.
So that would actually make some pretty interesting matchups in semis. Assuming we go off of predictions, you have Columbus and the Senators. You have either Chicago and Dallas versus.
Well, I think the West
Anaheim
series, no matter what, are going to be really good. I mean, like whether it's Dallas or Chicago.
I think any 4 of those teams in the West, you can.
Yeah, no matter what, it's going to be good. Yeah, no matter what, the Western semis are going to be really good. And then the East, I mean, look, it's hard to fucking. You don't really get to this stage without being a good team, right? So I mean, like, no matter what, no matter who it is, I guess it's going to be a good series. I feel like. No disrespect to Prime and the Cats over there, but I mean, I feel like you're kind of rooting for, as a fan to see, Columbus versus Ottawa because I feel like those are 2 powerhouse teams, but any 4, again, like you don't get to this round without being a good team. So
you're down to 8 out of 31.
Yeah.
So right. Unless you have an angel named Dom Squad, then you get this.
Unless you're a cat with 9 lives.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's our NHL in a nutshell. Well, I'll be on next week to talk about the semis, how they went down, or the quarterfinals, and look at the semi matchup. Prime, if you want, you can stick around for AHL. Prime.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good talk.
My bad. I was asking. What were we talking about? I had to walk out of the bedroom for a second.
We're just moving on to AHL. So, if you want to stick around, you can.
I actually may possibly NHL. Have to bow out for a second because I think my girlfriend was looking to go grocery shopping. So that's what I was gonna say. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, man.
No, but definitely thank you for having me on to talk about all that, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming along. We're going to be bringing on Nazi. Talk about
what about Wolf still here. To stay? Am I not welcome to stay? Are you kicking me out?
No, you're welcome. I figured you were staying the whole thing.
All right, Fedora, man. Don't overstay your welcome, buddy.
Yeah, he's like, get the fuck out, guy.
I can't stay at a party with you for more than 20 minutes, though.
No, but definitely thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it, man.
Good shit, man.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Brad.
And now there were 5.
We're getting... Oh, no, we're bringing Nazi on.
Oh!
And then...
some Nazi. Where's he at?
Oh, I gotta mute my mic because I'm eating. Hold on.
All right. So while we're waiting for those guys to come on, we'll look at the matchups of East, we have the Charlotte Checkers versus the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. We have the Toronto Marlies versus the Binghamton Devils. The Milwaukee Admirals versus the Moose. And the Ontario Reign versus the Barracuda.
Ooh, this guy jumping.
We are in for some good playoff hockey.
Most of the series,
Checkers.
Anyway. I feel like that's a boring fucking series.
Really?
I guess I don't really know too much about the AHL this season, so.
Well, you had the Checkers that upset the Springfield Thunderbirds. They beat them in 6 games. And the Phantoms took out premier player in the Sound Tigers.
Oh, God, premier player.
So you have 2 versus 3 in the seats, technically, for that division. The Charlotte Checkers got a lot better from, I'd say mid-season. A lot better.
I think people just slept on them. I don't think they were ever really truly bad.
Well, you really...
I think they're a one-line team, to be honest. I think they're a one-line team still to this day, but...
I think they added some pieces to make that second line more competitive, to say.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. I know literally like no one on their team. It's like a CHL team.
No, Epic Skills is good.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got Skillsy.
That's kind of it. The rest of them are kind of like, I don't want to say nobody's.
Alexander.
Oh, yeah, there's Alexander, too. Yeah, he's all right.
He's not very known. Good player. He's not very well known.
If you're not a shoutbox presence and you don't verbally make yourself aware.
Not many people know about you.
Yeah, honestly, you can have as much thumbs in the world, but if you don't talk in that shoutbox, no one's going to have a damn clue who you are.
And then Frills is a decent player.
I've heard good things about him. I have never seen him personally firsthand, but
he's all right. I had him last season. He's okay.
Solid. Nothing special, but
it's all right.
The place where they run into is their defense.
Yeah,
their
kind of lackluster.
Doesn't perform very right. I mean, and then you get to goaltending, you have pretty much God of America. Flyers has played 9 games. Did he get sent down from Carolina?
I believe so.
And then, I mean, I originally bid on God of America. Very good goaltender. I just happen to have 3 goaltenders at the time. The kid could steal you a game, without a doubt.
I'm going to take a look at this roster real quick so I know what we're talking about. I know who that is.
Yeah, I got him up too, and I'm just going to... when you guys mention somebody, I'm just going to act like I know who they are. So.
I like the savagery.
Yeah, I was going to be like, no, he's great. What I really like about
he's
him
good.
is really like the way he shoots the puck.
But honestly, I don't think they match up well against the Phantoms.
I don't know. Aren't both of these teams
I like the Phantoms.
In the realm of things? Like, aren't they both kind of...
I mean...
You got Mr. Penguin.
Yeah, Mr. Penguin could steal them a series, absolutely.
Unless you hit him with, top of the circles in your own zone slap shots. to win overtime games. You know, it happens.
It happens.
You know, Pounder's having a great season. He's their best defenseman.
Let me check out these guys.
You have One Timer, who's another decent defenseman. They brought in McLean. I mean,
McLean's pretty good. McLean's pretty good. He's a pretty good defender. He coughs the puck up sometimes if you put a little pressure on him, but I mean he's relatively a pretty good defender. Plays with the puck a little bit too much, but all in all, pretty good.
I mean, top
Lehigh's
forwards,
got a pretty decent team. They got Bossy, they got Jamin Calise. They got a pretty good forward group. They got Math QC on there too. Navy Nick, who played goalie last season. So they look pretty good. I'd take this team over the other team.
So, yeah, I'd definitely have to give the Phantoms the nod in this series.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to take them too.
Now you got the Marlies versus the Devils. Marlies took out the Crunch in 5 games. The Devils took out the Americans in 6. Technically 5.
Gotta love Leck. I have to.
I think the Devils are a really good team.
I think Lehkonen is very good. That's all.
I think a lot of the team is really good. I mean, wrong team. Bennett. Yeah, Bennett's a fucking beast.
Bennett, I love Bennett. He's actually a good buddy at one of our.
Yeah, he's a fucking beast. Chowski's a fucking beast.
Beast, yeah.
Love me some Chow.
I like the Senators. Who the fuck's on the Marlies?
Fishy Dangles, I like. He was my goalie last year.
Orioles and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, Orioles is a nice guy.
Love Orioles, he's a quality guy.
He's a really nice guy.
Oh, Prodigy's on their team too. He was good in Kootenai last season.
Yeah, they've got the Twins.
Oh, they do?
Prodigy.
I hated dealing with them last season.
Oh, they got Fire Penguin. I drafted him. Yeah, that's a good team too.
Oh yeah, Fire Penguin.
Yeah, no, he's fucking it's a good team. It's got one of my draft picks on it, so they're obviously coming to play.
But at the end of the day, New Jersey looks like they got more line power, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Devils, 100%.
Sorry, Fish.
Binghamton for the win. Or Bell, they're Binghamton now, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, because they even have Stanley and Real Demon, too.
Unreal. Yeah, he was on our team for a little stretch there. He was a good goalie. Probably should have kept him, but
I think Devils have a good team, but I'm not sleeping on the Marlies either. I say this is a 6-game series too. Because, I mean, depends on what Real Demon shows up.
And he's good.
he is good. No doubt.
A former NHLer, so.
Not a goalie, I believe, right? I think he was a forward before.
No, I'm pretty sure he was a goalie. I'm almost positive he was a goalie.
Nah, I think when he was with Anna was the forward goalie and he was center.
I think he was a goalie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a forward last season.
Have I been muted this whole time?
No.
Yes, you have. Well, no, since recently.
I heard him.
I was noticed it was on mute, so I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, like it's hard for me to say, like, so because I haven't really been that in tune into the AHL this season. So, like, for me to like call how many games and stuff is kind of hard. But just looking at the teams, I would say on paper anyway that the what the fuck team? What's the name of the team again? The Devils. Where are they from? Binghamton. Yeah, those guys. I feel like they're the stronger team. Sure.
I'm gonna give Binghamton 5 just because favoritism and all, but in all seriousness, I think 5 or 6 is gonna be the limit. It's gonna be Binghamton.
Yeah, I could get down with that. Bennett, Dable, whatever. Chowski, Elite. They're fucking.
Yeah, I think they have more depth than Toronto. All right, like now we got Milwaukee and the Moose.
Obviously, Milwaukee is the obvious choice there, right?
Woo, Milwaukee.
I don't know. Nazzy might have some words to say about that one.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Nazzy hear it.
So, obviously, we talked about earlier in the show, Milwaukee's already got a downfall having the ECU a defenseman.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but there's a way around that.
Both teams are really strong. This is, I think, the series to watch.
It's the best series in this round, for sure, by far.
Right.
It's going to make me extremely sweaty. I don't want to be sweaty, so Nazzy, take it easy.
Yeah.
If you make me take more than 3 showers in one night, I'm going to kill you guys.
Nah. Try to make it one.
I mean, it comes down to how long Silky can carry wool.
Oh, right.
Is what's going to come down to.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, right? Yep. Called it.
Milwaukee's a really good team, but I mean, the Moose are fucking stacked. Like,
says the owner.
Fuck you, Vibes. Get your fucking foot out
you're
of here.
The owner of Milwaukee, though.
Skedaddle.
Milwaukee's really fucking good, dude. I mean, Milwaukee's fucking stacked too, bro. Like,
yeah, you guys got to remember though, Vibes was with the Moose, so I mean, we got a lot of.
How many draft picks did you guys have at the beginning of the season?
I had like 13, and I gave them pretty much all of them. So like, they had a lot of. They had a good head start, you know. But like, I mean, they did a lot of good things themselves too. You know, it was like kind of a tandem thing, you know, and. Look, I mean, they're a really good fucking team. Milwaukee is, you know, but they're going against a really stacked fucking Manitoba team too.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised how Milwaukee turned it around there. I mean, I think they were in a tough rut there midway through the season, and then they just kind of made some trades and some good send downs. And I think Vise picked up a good pick with Perry there, brought him down, and now
I gave them Perry.
They got a really good forward core there.
Well, Perry was also our idea. We requested him, in all fairness.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I went out and got him for you, you know.
Well, you acquired him, but you didn't know who he was before I said something.
Well, I knew who he was. I mean, I paid attention.
I was trying to get that guy all season, so.
I mean, but that's really irrelevant.
That was my guy.
I mean, it's not like I didn't know who he was. I went and got him for you because Silky was like, "Hey, I really like him," you know. So I was like, "All right, well, let me go get him for you."
I mean,
that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to steal credit from you guys. I mean, you guys made the team at the end of the day, you know. But you did get a little help, you know.
As an owner should do.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, like why not?
Right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they run the day-to-day, you know, the day-to-day operations of the team, you know, and they make the trades and everything. So it's at the end of the day, it's their team, right? So
we gotta have Perry, man. He was a former line mate of mine. Love him.
Yeah, you guys had him on Valdor last season, and you know, he's good. He was pretty good for Edmonton too, honestly. You know, it's just that he was on a really bad team. So
Edmonton has seen better days, no doubt.
Hey, I thought we were done talking about the NHL. We want to get back into
No, that's okay. That's okay. Fire Mike can have his peace and quiet now.
Right.
Kind of like a community.
I like this Moose team. I really like this Moose team. Nazi did a great job.
Nazi did do a good job. But I tell you what, I'm rooting against them because my legacy is on the fucking line here. So I'm definitely rooting against them.
No, I think we had a lot of help coming from the top, like Bud was saying. Like Dead Soul did a lot for us and supported us the whole way through, and even Jim coming in with us and bidding, he's helped out a lot too. So it's been one of our better teams, or like my better teams that I've been part of, and a good group of guys. Everyone's just kind of solid there for everybody. So it's we're looking forward to the next round for sure. Getting Duke back, that's going to be huge.
Gotta love me some Dreamy, and Brian's a fucking great guy too,
that's
man.
Right. Yeah, we got a lot of good guys and a lot of good players. Everyone's stepping up. I mean, you look at Dreamy, the kid's fucking killing it. Look at his stats; it's unbelievable. I mean, his last round, I think he let in 1 goal in 3 games. It's just stupid, He's the type of goalie that makes the saves where it's like you think it's going in and then he saves it. It's just I think there's a difference up there, right? So
Dreamy's really good.
He's my friend, but he's not the cast of fucking mitts.
He is emotional with you guys as he is with us and VG because he's super.
We've dealt with him a few times, but I think he kind of knows from dealing with Jim and I. We're just like kind of like we won't even respond to any of it. It's just like So he kind of settled down a bit, but it's I see where you're coming there for sure.
He's a very emotional person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
But you need that, right? I mean, there's always going to be that one guy.
Yeah. No. I mean, I guess it's
every team has their nutcase. Everybody does. I love Dreamy to death.
Nah, he's good shit. Yeah, he's good shit.
He's a good guy.
I do have to say though, your move to get Bob the Ostrich was a great move. Yeah, because that definitely solidified your defense.
Bob, I played against him in that last game that we played against you guys, and he's a headache for fuck sure.
I think that was our main concern going into the trade deadline was upgrading our D. I think we really wanted to upgrade our D, so that was a deal we were working on, and Jim worked hard on that for a couple of days, and we were able to bring it through at the end there. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what he can do in the playoffs for sure.
And you guys took care of business the first round of the playoffs, and that was without Jack.
Yep.
Now you guys get him back. This series, I can't wait to watch it.
I can't wait to play it, dog. I've been waiting for 2 weeks. Right. I want to sauce Dreamy the fucking mitts. Let's go.
So, I mean, yeah, it sucks that it's this round, but I mean, I do like this matchup. Now, you were previously with the
Crunch, Syracuse.
You were with Syracuse, and then you came over to run the Moose, and then you brought on Lobo.
Yep.
Which everybody thinks he cheated the system.
Well,
yeah, I mean, like, I can tell you exactly what happened. I accepted the GM position with Dead Soul, and Dead Soul traded a 4th round pick to Tampa for Lobo's rights. Lobo, and then we just we matched his RFA bid and made him GM. So I mean, everything's within the rules. I mean, I think the only thing that people they didn't really understand what happened, or maybe the trade was uneven. I don't know, but for him to go on any other team, and and he gets a $6 million bid, like that team's got to take that on. He has to accept GM for that to go away, right? Like, that's on him, right? So
I knew what was going on. I mean, what I thought was weird about it was how you went in and you were basically able to not have in AGM, and then all of a sudden it's like you match it, and then you make him, to wipe that contract. It was just,
and that was a big concern of mine too. Was the timing? Are we allowed to do this within timing? And that's something that I went to the Bogs about. I talked to them. I'm like, is this allowed? And he said yes. So I mean, that's something that for sure I was concerned about. Am I allowed to have no AGM until the RFA is done, and then make him that, right? So I think that was the deadline, and that's what I was doing. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It was. I mean, you look at us now, though. I mean, we're not like we used to. We're not putting up the points like we used to. So I mean, I don't think anyone's too worried about it.
Right.
Oh, there's no hate involved about it. It's all done and over with. That was weeks ago, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those where
they got to. Sorry, go ahead.
It's kind of like what happened for Dave's buddy.
Oh yeah.
When he came into Ontario.
Well, that was kind of Lobo, a he's never really played NHL too, right?
You can't really.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I understand what you're saying. It kind of goes hand in hand. Like, I mean, they were kind of beating the system. I wouldn't say it's similar, actually.
So, I mean, it was within the rules. I have no problem with it. I just figured I'd let you tell your side of it.
Yeah, well, with Furs, it was he was an NHL bid, right?
And yes, he was on Edmonton.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of shaky. I mean he's an NHL bid and he gets sent down because he's an A status, and then just to clean that contract. I mean, yeah, it's within the rules. It's allowed, but it's kind of like, do you want it? I don't know.
It's the same thing with Lobo. I've seen shystier things.
Yeah, I mean it's just things that are in the rules that they have to put in place. Like if they don't want that to happen, then they need to put in the. Make a person a GM before the RFA goes into place. I don't know.
That's the thing about the league is that they run things very, very bureaucratically. You know what I mean? Like
it's just like general discussion. It's like there's that day. You don't really.
There's absolutely no arbitrary decisions made at all in this
league.
Yeah, so
it's
strictly bureaucratic.
Sometimes it's tough to deal with for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's not in the league, man. If it's not in the rules, it's not in the rules.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the series. I think it's going to be good, tight. I think, Milwaukee's, coming in off a strong round against the Wolves. So I mean, they got some momentum coming in, and it's going to be good. But we're dissecting the team. We're looking at ways to exploit them, and taking that home ice advantage to our advantage, and just
You better tell your defense to watch that film, buddy.
Yeah.
You guys did take out the Rockford Ice Hogs in 5 games.
Power to you. They didn't deserve to be
there. They don't have.
Fuck that.
Well, you know what? I would like to say something about that too. A lot of people don't know about that. They got Turbo called up for him. That was their AHL bid. That's a really good player for them. So they're going to the playoffs without him. And then also they had another situation too, I think, where yeah. So I mean, they're dealing with ECUs as well in that round as well. So I mean, he was dealing with a lot of stuff that was unfortunate, and it didn't make it really that even for him. I don't know.
I haven't liked that team since week 1. I like a couple people on that team, but that I don't know, man. I just can't respect
Rockford?
it. Yeah, I haven't liked them since week 1.
Yeah, we've had some issues with 6 and I, and whatever. But I think he turned the team around. I mean, from last season, it was a joke, and he really kind of stuck with it, and turned it around and made a competitive team. So.
Now, does Milwaukee go sleeping after the hangover, the huge upset over Chicago?
No, because that wasn't really an upset. I mean, if you would ask me, I think Milwaukee was the better team in that series.
I would agree.
Well, obviously they were the better team in the series, but I think they were the better team as a whole. So I don't really see that as an upset.
I think people slept on us because of what happened back in week 5 and 6 with Deeds getting kicked out. We looked really
that's
bad.
Exactly what it is, man. Because Milwaukee, honestly, they've been one of the top teams all season long. It's just that they went through so much shit with everything that went on with Deeds, and we had a lot of trouble up top. So they they lost guys to us. Look, I'm an honest guy. You know what I mean. And there was stretches of the season where Milwaukee really got the shaft. But at the end of the day, I think they've been one of the upper end teams all season. Excuse me.
I would agree with that. I also know Chicago had a decent team also.
No, they had
that was Chicago.
That
was a hard fought series. It was a lot closer than what it looks like. Even
right.
They had 2 3-point comebacks in the third period. For fuck's sakes! I mean, you can only say so much about. It's just unfortunate.
I just got a message from Dreamy on Discord, and he asked Wolf to please take it easy on him.
Oh, well,
because he's really afraid of you, and
as he should be. He's about to get gamed.
And I hope he's listening. I hope he's listening right now.
I
hope he's listening to me right now. He said, "Please don't snipe him."
Oh. Oh yeah.
That means raps for days.
Okay, I'll just
down low wiggles.
Oh yep, that's all I do, man. That works.
Down low wiggles. Here we go.
Down low wiggles. Yo, down low wiggles got me 113 points. Can't hate it. It works.
Yeah, good job, bud.
I can't do a favorite for your guys' matchup. I think it'll go 7 games for sure.
I hope it goes 7 games.
I wanted to go 7. I like that kind of shit. I live for that kind of stuff.
I just, it's 2 very well matched teams.
I'm gonna reach into my bag of tricks here, and I'm gonna pick Manitoba in 4.
Oh, greasy.
Oh, the sadness. My feelings are hurt. Oh no.
Nazi probably gets that. Probably, but I'm gonna pick Manitoba in 4 games. And I'm gonna put that on the site too. How about that?
He's gonna strap on the commitment for that one.
He's gonna change his pick'em to it.
Oh, we got Killer, man. Whatever he picks is fucking gold, man.
So, 100%, man. It amazes me.
He's A1 at that shit. Yeah, it's fucking unreal.
So you have Ontario versus the CUDA.
Ooh. I love me some Matlock stuff.
Alright, guys. I actually got to take off. I got wife, kids calling. But I'm going to say CUDA.
Oh, go ahead, man. So, it's just one of those things we've kind of talked all season. CUDA's just got that much depth. Even on their TC, they have depth.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Those were the 2 sweatiest games I've played all season. It's like ferocious, that team.
Hey, is my chewing and drinking really loud or like obnoxious?
I couldn't hear shit.
Okay. All right.
No, we can't hear shit.
All right, cool.
I don't think I'm hoping it goes 6. It's just one of those series. It's kind of a question mark. I think CUDA wins it. I just don't know how far.
No when. Yeah, I like the CUDA's. I like the CUDA's depth. You got people like Matt, Patriot, User, and all of them up there. It's just, it's hard to overcome that. And I like Fern. I don't mind Deal, and I don't want to say that they're gonna get shit on, but it's not.
I played with Patriot last night.
Patriot's a god.
The kids.
Yeah, I was on the other end of that.
Yeah. Patriot's got the kids sticks. He's definitely good.
He's got the vision, man. He knows how to find open people.
And they got
1,000th goal in that game, and Kenneth had to see it.
Oh, forgot to mention Pasta.
I was so mad I had to play D instead of center that game.
Oh, you caught the dick. Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't think you wanted to play center that game anyway. Patriot was probably gonna be all over you.
Oh yeah. No, I know he's fucking really good. I like a challenge in the dot.
Fair enough. All right.
Ontario has enough firepower to win 2 games in the first 6.
Oh, Yeah, no doubt. I think that Fur will probably win his too. I mean,
Yeah, they got enough.
It
They got
depends
enough
on who.
firepower to win too.
The whole thing with Fur though is it depends on who you match with him.
fair enough. Yeah, Fur's a great guy, and he's got the stick. He's easily probably got one of the better hands in the game on in the AHL anyway. He's got
He's
the
ridiculous.
Stick move. He has. I will say, as someone that plays with him like quite frequently, that he does have his moments where he doesn't take it as serious as it probably should. Maybe, and that might cost him if he doesn't stay focused. But if he's on point, he's not going to lose. It depends on who's with him, though.
Yeah. To me, this is actually, and this is, I've been out of the loop a little bit, but to me, this is a really, unless something goes really wrong, this series is like super easy to predict. And well, what I mean by that is like, it's going to come down to game 6. So like Ontario has definite enough firepower to win 2 games out of the first 6. It all comes down to game 6 and whether or not the Cuda close out game 6. If they can close out in game 6 and prevent it from going to a 7, then they'll win the series. Otherwise, it goes to 7 and it's anybody's game.
I mean, you also got to look at Kuda's defense. I mean, it's strong without a doubt, probably one of the strongest, but it does taper off after that first line. They're standing though, so if that's what it's going to come down to, if it's a firefight, the Cuda are going to win.
I can tell you for that there's a I don't want to out him and say anything out because him and I have had we've had kind of a bumpy past here, and he was once a good friend, and now things have kind of gone the other way. But I will say that there is a defenseman on the Cuda who can very much and very easily be taken advantage of. And if he's on the ice, it should be a 100% win for the other team, regardless of who's on the other team at the time. Basically, I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to shit on them. But Cuda have a bad defender that can be taken advantage of. Is basically what I'm getting at.
Right, but I mean, if you look at Kuda's time of attack all season, nobody's in their zone. Right, nobody's in their zone.
That's why you got to adjust the play and particularly try to attack this one player. Make him play the puck. I mean, lob it into his corner.
It's got to come down to a trap. It has to. It's one of those series that whoever plays better defense is going to win. I mean, Patriot, User, Pasta, Matt, all of them, they're all phenomenal. But if you trap them the right way, you can limit them. Everyone can be limited. It's going to come down to whoever just traps better, I guess, at this point.
I mean you can limit the Cuda.
Or Ontario is a weaker team, but
it's how long can you?
Yeah.
It seems like you can keep them 1 or 2 goals through the first 2 periods. That third period, they kick it on, dude, and then just leave you in the dust.
Yeah, I've been on it like firsthand, playing against them twice this season against their upper level players, and it's a hassle. It's a 5-man effort.
It is.
You need to lock down and you need to play man. You cannot let the guy go, or you're gonna regret it because they're gonna find the open guy and pound it.
Oh, and once they expose your weakness, they expose it. Because I mean, I played a game. It was literally 1-0 after the first.
Yeah, if you need to have your defense and your center on point that game, because if they have any kind of lapses in their defensive judgment, you're going to get pounded. It's just someone having an off night could cost you 7 goals kind of team. It's not good.
Right. So, I mean, it's one of those... like I said, it's not the number of games. It's when is the Cuda gonna move on? Because I mean, they're just that stacked, and it's one of those where that management team has done a great job, top to bottom.
No doubt.
Because, I mean, they've been building that team. Now, granted, I mean, they're going to probably lose Patriot next season.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much over with. Yeah.
Do they have a GM? Who's the GM now?
User stepped in.
Oh.
He pretty much stepped in, but I don't think they technically named him.
No, I think it's a lot of effort between him and I think it's Nuo. Is that their other one?
No kid, I believe so.
Yeah, I believe it's a lot between them two. I think Nuo does a lot of the on paper stuff, like the stats and all that. I think User does a lot of the roster decisions, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, pretty much the only weakness is probably their third line, and that's where maybe
like I said, stuff starts tapering off. But
they got like they have home ice advantage, so
that's certainly a factor,
right? But I mean, pretty much their third line you figure is Schmear Pap, Pussy Lips. I don't know who you put for the third one, but
which on paper are not at all bad players, and I will not call them bad players, but they're definitely not as strong as the other two lineups that they do have running.
So, I mean, it's one of those with, Deal did put a decent team together, right?
Oh, I mean, no doubt.
Him and Wool. Yeah. But it's just they matched up against the Cuda. It's one of those things.
Not something that anyone wants, I don't think, at this point. The West is cowering from the Cuda.
You put any of these teams in the East, they might be meeting the Cuda in the final.
Which is gonna be a rip. I don't think.
Hold on,
no offense to East players, but timeout.
Right. I got a Vibes money back guarantee for you, and here it is. Ready? Geez. My money back guarantee is that no matter who goes on from the Pacific, loses to who goes on from the Central next round. How about that? I think whether it's the Admirals or the Moose, I think either one of those teams will beat either of the teams coming out of the Pacific, including the Barracuda.
I could see it.
Oh, that's the money back guarantee. But... Take it to the bank, cash it in, get $10 back.
The Central's got some wicked strong talent, though. It's where the Cuda have strived is their talent is outstanding for their division, but they're not competing against teams that are also of the same caliber 24/7 like the Central has. The Central has we got teams like Rockford, we got Manitoba, Milwaukee, Chicago. They're all extremely talented teams, all top 10 in the league in wins. It's not a division to be trifled with at this point, and it's like an established thing.
It's not even a conference to be messed with. The East doesn't even match to the West.
I don't want to be mean to East players and say that the teams are 100% weaker, but even if you look at the paperwork on it, it's not even close.
I think the only team in the East that can maybe is the Devils.
It's either the Devils or the Phantoms.
The Devils have a shot, but I think that the Devils are significantly weaker than any Central team or any.
Yeah, I'd sign off on that. I'm just saying, out of the East, I think they're the only team who can kind of compare.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And you know what? That's something that we really need to evaluate and figure out why the West balance is always so much better than the East.
I think it comes down to a lot on the upper levels too, because in the NHL you got your Western teams, which are most of the time stronger than your Eastern teams.
Always, dude.
It's just whoever's getting the teams up there needs to be divided around or divisions needs to be switched, or someone needs to get moved around to balance it out on the lower levels. Because as you notice, the better the manager up top, the better the managers down low.
It's like the same thing every single season. It's always the Central and the North have like depth, and then there's always one team from the Pacific that's good. Like how it is every single season. It's just so funny.
That's kind of weird. It is kind of looked into because I feel like it's kind of unbalanced.
It's really weird, man. And the Metro always sucks, or the Atlantic, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Oh yeah, the Metro's most of the time dog
Always
shit on
sucks.
both sides. On both sides of the consoles,
yeah.
it's just
And
the
both
Metro is never good.
NHL and
Yeah, there's some varying success with I think Tampa's Metro right now. Tampa's had some success on both sides, but it's just one of those. Balance is not in check.
You can't really. I don't know how to put this. Bidding's blind, so it's not that you can be like the West just outbids the East.
I think it comes down to a fundamental level.
It's like Wolf was saying though, like it's got something to do with management. Like
The management talent on both sides is obscure. It's not even. Because you got people like Silky and Nazi and Philly and all them guys up over here, just like we know who the good players are, and then you got people like Premier, not to point him out and bring that up, but taking teams out in the East, and it's just like unbalanced. That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So that pretty much wraps up the AHL. Now, you'll get to see all the AHL talent Thursday and Friday, as the league is actually going to be running an all-star game for the AHL. 3 games. You have Crashman and Ice Block running, and then you have the User and Bobby Goggles running the Western team. So I'm pretty sure it'll be streamed, and I gotta find out who'll be streaming those. But also on Friday for the game 1, game 2, and game 3, T-Sibs will be coming back and doing the commentary for those.
I gotta get my lotion.
So he'll be doing those. I unfortunately just took a new job, so I will not be able to be doing it with him. But the AHL and CHL will be doing all-star games this season to see how it goes, because we haven't been doing those in the past. Pretty much, here's your award.
Yep.
Have fun.
Here's your participation trophy. Take a lap.
Right. Thanks for having a good season.
I like the idea of the game, though. I appreciate that on your guys' end. I think that's a great idea. I think it's fun.
So we're gonna try it. Hopefully, we can make sure people show up. I understand it's around the holidays. Also, you have the World Juniors that are going on for the CHL.
Yes, sir.
And the World Cup that's going on for the AHL and NHL. I believe a couple of CHL players also made it. I know All In Fitness did.
Yeah, he's on the Western Canada one now.
I want to say there was one more that made it. But I can't say for sure. He's an ECU for that team. And I believe the Central team. We have Leicester. Leicester made it from the CHL team. League. So hats off
Good
to those
job.
guys.
There's a CHLer in the AHL Arsenal game? What? That's elite.
No.
I was about
No,
to
to
say,
the World
Jesus.
Cup.
I was
World
about
Cup.
to say,
World
Jesus
Cup.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he ECU'd those 8 games and scored more points than you.
I'm like, holy fuck. Give this man a trophy.
But as most people know, Wolf will be taking home most points in this season.
Woohoo!
I believe you finished with 108.
113.
Really, you gotta show me up? God.
Yep, I do. 108 was last season. Sad day.
Right. So,
Savage.
hopefully next season he'll actually take his skills up to the NHL.
I was planning on doing it this season, but I had to carry Silky somewhere, I guess.
Pasta finished with 109 and Patriot finished with 103. He ended up with 51 goals, 61 assists, or 62 assists, a plus 55. So that is one award I know for sure.
Woo.
As Wolf is getting that. And then from the Barracuda, Cornett was your most goals, top goal scorer. He ended up with, I believe, 71 goals. Yeah, 71 goals ended up with the season with the Barracuda. And then sportsmanship was already voted on, and that is actually going to Jack Dupe. I hope I'm saying that right. Of the Manitoba Moose. Got the sportsmanship award for the AHL. The other awards are getting voted on at the moment, both AHL and CHL side. HG Sparty is taking care of the NHL side, along with their committees. As of next season, with All-Star Game, I will be compiling all the stats. There won't be any more management nominations. It will be top point getters from 3 from each team. That will be the nominations, and then the community will still be voting on it. I see that as being the fairest. I don't know your guys' opinion on it.
No, it sounds perfectly fair to me. Like, if it's going to be the best of the best, you want them in there, and we can compile from there from voting, right?
So that will go for all leagues. The awards will still be compiled stats, and then we will have the committees vote on it. The committees are seasoned management and also the top management teams for that season are the guys that vote on those awards. I will be putting out finalists of each award just so that everybody can see who the finalists were. we're trying to make it to where at least everybody can agree on it. Even though there will be a select few that don't agree.
Everyone always has a headache about something. I just fuck it.
So go ahead, get good on my posts. I don't care. But that's where I'm going to leave that. I'm going to be putting a little bit more effort on the technology side next season. Not just these boring old Google Hangout ones.
Google Hangout, my favorite thing.
So I'm going to be working on that. Sleeves will be joining me again next season, along with T-Sibs. Fives will probably end up coming back.
How much you paying?
Yeah, I don't even get paid for this crap.
Well, for media team 2016 or 2018 now. What the fuck?
Media
no,
is
you got to do
so
season 7.
Underappreciated.
There's no years. There's no years. It's just seasons.
I don't care. I'm a legend. I get the entire year.
The amount of work that you got to put into this shit, and like people don't even like. They're like, "Oh, you guys fucking suck." At least me, anyway. Everyone's always like, everybody hates me, but like all the work you put in to media and shit, it's fucking ridiculous.
It's time consuming. I enjoy it.
It's always fun.
It gets overwhelming every once in a while. So you're running your own team, and you got media. You know, you end up keeping track of 68 people.
Yep.
With all the media guys and your team. You know. Plus you got your actual real life stuff. So no, I thank all the guys that take time out of their days to come talk with us. Ducks came in earlier in the season. I mean, this session you had Prime that came in, Nazi, Wolf, you, Vibes. I mean, you had Dealmaker make an appearance, D Graves.
Woo.
I think I said
Spicy.
Ducks. So we kind of got a lot of guys on here. Sleeves and Barakov and Six helped out a ton. But for the most part, it was a good season. We also have CHL still yet to do. I'm actually going to cut this one off and start a CHL one. Just so you guys don't have to watch 2 hours just for CHL. I will time mark NHL and AHL. Appreciate everybody in the community that watches this stuff. So, other than that, Vibes, you got anything else to say?
No, that pretty much takes care of everything that I got to say. That's pretty much it.
Wolf, any last words?
Just gonna give a shout out to Peace because he was begging, and yeah, that's about it.
Peace, no.
Give a shout out to this guy because he keeps fucking bothering the hell out of me, and yeah. I just really kind of want the guy to shut up, so let me give him a shot.
I love me some Peace Elite ECU buddies.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for you guys. Me and Kenneth trying to get fitness in here. We'll be doing the CHL quick breakdown. That's going into round 3. And then next week I'll come back and we will be doing a show on what the playoffs look like after. So
you're
thanks
gonna
for
be
watching.
seeing Milwaukee. Goodbye.
That's my last word. So go Admirals. All right, goodbye.
All right. Later, guys.
Later.
Later.